I didn't raise my voice that day. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. But silence has a way of continuing the conversation long after the door is closed. When I said I knew, it wasn't a victory cry. It was just a fact. A simple fact that Bradley had stepped over for 4 long months. He never understood that in that house, every brick had its own language. He only saw numbers. He only saw commission. Bradley called me 6 more times after that morning. His voice shifted from threats to begging. "Margaret, you have to help me. Do you have proof that I refused to take the documents?" I didn't answer. I set the phone down on the oak table, and my mind went back to March. The snow had just begun to melt. Water crept slowly into the rear foundation. David had planned to fix it before the heart attack took him. He had clipped every paper, every denied city permit. All of it neatly tucked into that blue folder. I remember holding it during my 3rd meeting with Bradley. "This is important, Bradley," I said. He wasn't listening. He was adjusting his silk tie in the hallway mirror. "Margaret, sweetheart," he smirked. That kind of smile that makes the wrinkles around a man's eyes look cheap. "I've hired a private inspection team. They're pros. They don't need dusty papers from the last decade." He brushed my hand aside. The folder hit the floor. He didn't pick it up. I quietly knelt down, wiped the dust off the cover, placed it back on the shelf. That was the moment I decided, not to seek revenge, but to remain silent. We Americans have a saying, never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Bradley wasn't my enemy, he was just an arrogant man, and arrogance is a beast that eventually devours itself. November came. The wind blew in from the north, sharp and jagged, the kind of cold only New England knows. I received a letter from Bradley's lawyer. They wanted a deposition. They wanted to blame a widow for concealing material facts. I walked downtown to the lawyer's office. I wore David's old wool coat. It was too big, but it was warm. The conference room smelled like cheap coffee and fresh toner. Bradley was already there. He looked 10 years older. No silk suit, just a wrinkled button-down and tired eyes. His lawyer, a man with eyes like a hawk, slid a paper toward me. "Mrs. Margaret, do you admit that you were aware of the foundation leaks and the unpermitted work?" I looked at Bradley. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He stared at his own hands. They were trembling. I slowly took off my glasses. I looked at the lawyer. "I attempted to give those files to Mr. Bradley 4 times, I said. My voice was low, steady, without a single ripple. On March 12th, in the living room. On March 19th, by the pool. On April 2nd, at this very dining table. And one last time, the day I moved out." I paused. The room went silent. Every time I continued, Mr. Bradley interrupted me. He told me my input was unnecessary. He told me I was too sentimental. He told me he understood the law better than anyone. The lawyer turned to him. "Is that on the record, Bradley?" Bradley's lips moved. No sound came out. He knew. I kept a journal. I always write things down. Dates, times, conversations. A habit from when David was alive. I don't need to scream to be believed. I only need the truth. And the truth is usually very quiet. The lawsuit dragged on longer than expected. Bradley lost his real estate license in the state of Massachusetts. The firm cut all ties with him to protect their reputation. But the heaviest price wasn't the money. It was his confidence. Hollow now. Completely shattered. One Saturday afternoon, I drove past the old house. I saw Bradley standing on the opposite sidewalk. He didn't see me. He was just staring at the house. Scaffolding wrapped around it. Construction crews tearing down the extension David built by hand. The jackhammer roared, a deafening sound, the sound of collapse. Bradley looked small under the gray sky. He once thought he could control the world with an iPad and a bit of rudeness. Now he couldn't even control his own future. I didn't stop the car. I didn't roll down the window. The best storytellers know when to stop. Bradley wrote his own ending the moment he held up his hand and told me to hush. I went back to my apartment. I brewed a pot of tea, sat in the twilight, watched the river. People asked me why I wasn't more aggressive, why I didn't yell, "You're making a mistake." Lot me something. Some people cannot learn through words. They only learn through loss. Bradley needed my silence to see his own emptiness. When you talk too much, people stop listening. But when you are silent at the right time, the world forces them to hear the truth. I picked up David's photo. He was smiling, holding a shovel in the backyard garden. "It's all settled now, David," I whispered. "The house is no longer ours. But the honor remains. Not in million-dollar contracts, but in how we treat one another when no one is watching." December arrived. Heavy snow covered the roads. I received a small package, no return address. Inside, a scrap of paper, the handwriting shaky. "I'm sorry." Just 2 words. I knew it was from Bradley. Maybe he lost everything. Maybe he was starting over from zero. I took the paper to the fireplace. I didn't feel pity. I didn't feel smug. Just a quiet relief. I dropped it into the flames, watched it curl, turn black, disappear. The past burned away. The arrogance burned away. I stood by the window. My apartment is small, but it's warm. No hidden flaws, no deceptive contracts, just me. And the quiet I protected at all costs. My neighbor downstairs, a young plumber, sometimes helps with groceries. He always removes his hat, always asks if I need a hand, and he always listens until I finish my sentence. This world is loud for those who love the sound of their own voice. But real power belongs to those who know when to remain silent. Because in that silence, justice always finds its way home. I take one last sip of tea. Bitter at first, then sweet. The old house has new owners now. They'll fix the foundation, pull new permits, build new memories, and me? I'm still here, still Margaret. The woman Bradley thought had nothing to say. It turns out, sometimes the best story is the one you don't tell, until it tells itself.